Hi.
It always seems like such a rush at the last minute. My camera's crooked. There.
Welcome to the hot mess, otherwise known as Knits and Pieces.
Wait, I'm going to center myself, but I'm probably going the wrong way.
Okay.
Okay. I'm good. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Knits and Pieces. We're a knitting podcast coming to you from Southwestern Ontario. This is our informal get together, knit chat together every Tuesday evening with all of our knitty friends. I shouldn't just say knitty, all of our crafty friends.
All of our multi-crafty friends.
That's right. All of our multi-crafty friends. This is our favorite night of the week. And
hands down.
Even though we don't knit, we
knit, just not here.
Oh, we knit. We're just not here. Yeah. We do knit, just not here. But we love being here and chatting with you, and hopefully you're getting some knitting done.
Absolutely. So. And that's my friend Noelle talking now. And my name is Kelly. Welcome.
Luckily, we have names across the bottom so we can remember who we are.
If you are new here, an extra welcome. And we will settle in a minute or so. And hopefully the rest of the time that we spend together will go a little easier. And if you are a returning viewer from either a short time or a long time, we are just super happy to have you here with us tonight.
Yeah.
Noelle said it's our favorite night of the week. It is. Hands down.
It
is our favorite night of the week.
It's our favorite night of the week. So, and just a little throwback for some of you that have been watching Knits and Pieces right from the start.
Because we're two now. Well, the podcast.
We're two. The podcast is older, but you and I are two. But for anybody that's been watching it right from the very beginning, which was almost 5 years ago.
Was it really that long?
Yeah,
I didn't know how long it started.
Zoe was just a couple of months old when we started, and it's her birthday today. She turned 5 today. So I just want to go back and show you. So I think it was our second podcast, and this was Jacqueline and Zoe.
We need some confetti for Zoe's birthday.
Happy birthday, Zoe. So we had featured Zoe, and we were doing our very first knit along. So this was Zoe like almost 5 years ago. So this was our first make along, was a hat chat make along, and Zoe's modeling the Banff hat there. But she's no longer that little girl anymore. And I have a little video clip to show you here. She was out. She stayed with us for a little while this weekend, and she was out in the leaves playing with, she was supposed to be helping Papa rake the leaves, but I don't know how much leaves actually really got collected. So here, I'll just play you a little video here. What are you doing, Zoe? Do you want to run and jump in that pile again?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. On your mark, get set, go. Was that fun? Okay, wouldn't it be amazing just to have that energy again and be able to go and do that again, and
maybe just the freedom to be able to jump into a pile of leaves and wonder or not worry about the icky things at the bottom of the pile?
Well, not even worrying about the things at the bottom, but thinking about, am I going to hurt
breaking
myself?
a hip or old bones? Right.
Am I going to be able to get back up? Are there enough leaves here?
Or is anybody else watching? Right? Just to have that like wild abandon of a child to just be able to I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Anyway.
Fun.
So she's she's 5 years old already, and she'd never be able to sit still to do a whole podcast anymore.
No. No. Absolutely not.
So yes, damn spiders. That's what I would be thinking. Are there spiders in there?
Right? Or just the wet,
Or I'm
icky
like,
thing at the
I
bottom of the
know.
pile.
I'm even thinking like, is there goopy stuff on the leaves?
I'm trying to scroll all the way back. My
Anyway.
gosh, there are a lot of comments. I wanted to see who was in here first tonight. Oh, Lori.
Mhm.
Lori was in at 6:34. Way to
Wow.
tailgate, Lori. Thanks.
So, yeah. Thanks for getting the party started. So, anyway, I was going to maybe ask Ross to make the pile big enough and I would have ran and jumped in it so that I could show you that too. But darn, I didn't.
That would have been good too. Yeah, absolutely.
I would still be there.
Well, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't need a very big pile to cover you up though.
Anyway, and another birthday I want to say, because I saw it on Instagram today, was our friend Joyce from the 3-Ply podcast.
Yes.
So it's her birthday today, and she shares a birthday with Zoe. And I just want to say, I think with my hair like this, I would be taller.
Yes.
So Joyce, in case you're watching, next time I see you, my hair is going to be like this, and we're going to do that measurement thing all over again.
Yes. Yes, you were quite defeated when you found out that she was a whole, I don't know, what was it, a half an inch taller than you. You were so sure that you were going to get that, but
yeah. But anyway, I always think of myself as being taller than I am. So
Donna says she would be afraid of snakes. I don't know where you live, Donna. I don't think we would have snakes in our leaf piles here.
Well,
would we?
I don't think I know that like when I used to run along the trail, I'd see snakes, but I haven't seen any in my yard. You would know, the whole street would know if I found one in my yard. So
and it is also Lisa's birthday today too. Lisa loves
happy
stitching.
birthday, Lisa.
Happy birthday, Lisa. Any other birthday people out there tonight? And welcome to Monique, who says it's her first time at one of our lives. Well,
Hi,
gosh,
Monique.
hope you're not
Yeah,
disappointed,
welcome.
Monique. We
Yeah,
will
we
get to
haven't
some
even
knitting.
started-
We will
started
get
to
to
talk
some
about
knitting
knitting.
eventually. Okay.
So, okay, well, first thing we should do is a little bit of admin,
Sure.
right? Because last week was our Kelly's and my 2-year anniversary of doing the podcast together. And we had a giveaway for one of our Knits and Pieces bags that are made for us by the amazing Sandy. So we gave one away on the show last week, but then we also had another one to give away for anybody that watched later and typed in #anniversary into the comments below the YouTube video. So just shortly before we went live, I went in and I pulled a winner for that. So let's go here. And I pulled up a slide for it. And the winner for the bag that was given away through the week was Vegas Golden Knits. And she says, happy anniversary. It's so lovely to spend time with you each week. I really look forward to it. Thanks for all the enjoyment.
Oh,
So,
thank you so much.
We could say that to all of you.
We could.
Like, thank you so much for the enjoyment.
Absolutely.
Because this wouldn't be nearly as much fun if Kelly and I were just talking at each other.
Well, there might be a few more insults flying back and forth too.
There might be.
There might be. We have another. Carry on. You go.
I was just going to say, Vegas Golden Knits. I don't know what your first name is or what your name is, but we will need that information in order to send the prize out to you. So I'll pop up, or Kelly will pop up, our email address, knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. So if you get in touch with us through that Gmail address, give us your full name, because we don't just want to send out to Vegas Golden Girl. We want to send it to your name, or Golden Knits. So if you give us your name and your address, and we will make sure that that gets in the mail to you. And you will love the bags. Sandy makes amazing bags.
Absolutely.
So I know I use mine all the time. So, and thanks to everybody that watched the video and commented. We had some amazing comments. Just so wonderful. We did get through them all. Them all. And just, it's so nice reading them. I sit reading them and I'm laughing, and I'm sure Ross is like on the other end going, oh, she's got nothing on, and she's just laughing. So.
It was a nice walk down memory lane for 2 years, though, right? There were lots of references to some shows gone by, and some of the things that we've had going on in the past couple of years. And let's just say we are looking forward to more years of Knits and Pieces. We've got some more knitty adventures that we want to that we want to embark upon. There are more sweaters to knit. There are more places to see. There are more friends to make. And we're not done yet. We are not done yet.
We are not. So we might be if we jumped in a pile of leaves, but we didn't.
Well,
so.
we might. We might. I also wanted to say there was, and now, oh, there we go. We have another birthday friend, Sierra Luna.
That is happy birthday. Wow.
Is that your actual name? That is a beautiful name if it is.
It was a busy day for birthdays.
Yes, it was.
So we should move on. And last week we talked about that we do try to go through and read all the comments after. And I actually go through and I rewatch the podcast and I go through the chat and see if there's any questions that were asked that we didn't get around to answering. So I've got some questions for last week that we're going to take a stab at. Like I said, we don't necessarily know all the answers. Positively, we don't know all the answers, but we know that there's a wealth of information out there. So we will just go through the questions that we were asked. And if anybody has ideas or answers, just type them in. We'd love to hear them. And in the meantime, we're helping out people that, would like to have some of these questions, maybe clarified a little bit. Okay. So the first one was gauge. That is a toughie.
Wow.
And that was,
how much time do we have?
I know that was, I couldn't answer it. I just gave a little description and I actually popped in for the person that asked the question, I popped in a little tutorial. I think it was from Very Pink Knits just to try and explain it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing your first sweater, I would say the best thing to do is really try and match that gauge before you start trying to adjust. So
yes, agreed.
Yeah. So when you've got a pattern, and gauge is not quite as important if you're doing a shawl, because a shawl can be different sizes, but if you're doing a sweater, it is important. So when you get that pattern, it gives you the gauge. And normally what it will do, it will tell you how many stitches and how many rows that you should have in a 4-inch square of that particular pattern. And you also need to read to say whether it says in stockinette or in the pattern stitch. Okay. Mm-hmm. So your starting point, at least my starting point, if I'm looking at that, is look at the suggested needle size. And remember that the needle size is suggested needle size, because everybody does not use the same size needle to get that particular gauge. Definitely. And eventually, as you knit more, you will find out that certain designers either knit looser than you do or tighter than you do. And it gives you a better starting point to know where to start. But what you have to do is you do that gauge swatch and you're going to measure over the number of stitches that they told you, or that the inches.
Just remember too, that's in stockinette might also mean in the round.
In the round, that's right.
If you're doing like a yoked sweater similar to this, that you're going to be going all the way around, then that stockinette gauge will be in the round. If you're doing a sweater in pieces, like a cardigan, that may be a back and forth stockinette.
Yeah.
So
yes, you basically want to knit your swatch exactly how you're going to knit the sweater.
Yes.
So if the sweater's knit flat, you're going to do it flat. If you're going to do it with the sweater with wooden needles, you do your gauge swatch with wooden needles. Mm-hmm. If it's in the round, you want to do a swatch that's in the round by leaving a long string across when you go around. Now, I find that my gauge is the same whether I knit in the round or whether I knit flat, but that is not the same for everybody.
That's right.
So yeah. So when you do your gauge swatch, you're going to figure out how many stitches it took you to get that 4-inch section. So let's say the pattern was 22 stitches and you do that, and in your knitting, it takes 24 stitches to get that. That means you are basically knitting tighter than the pattern. And if you didn't make any adjustments, your sweater or your garment would turn out too small. Okay. If you were getting 20 instead of 22, you're knitting looser and your garment would turn out too large.
Right.
So, I think maybe we need to go into this just a little bit every week, because it's an awful lot all at once. But I think that's your main thing there now, because the person that asked was looking at doing their first sweater. And I think if you're doing your first sweater, it would be best to get a yarn and needles that you can match the gauge exactly before you start playing around with doing math. Or
the last thing you want to have for your first sweater project is a sweater that you are not extremely proud to wear out of the house and you can't take off. You want to have success with something, with your knitted garment. Absolutely.
Okay, and we had a question here about what happens if you get the right number of stitches, but not the right number of rows. Okay, that's you can account for that, but you need to be aware if you're doing like a yoke sweater and you want to make sure that you're not going to end up with the yoke down here because your row gauge is so much different. Like again, if
Right.
you take more rows to get that, then you're going to be shorter here. If you take less rows, it's going to make that longer. So row gauge is a lot easier to compensate for, but you still need to look at your pattern and see if because you can go by the number of inches or the number of centimeters, but you still need to look at, okay, well, if it's a patterned yoke, am I going to be like down here before I get all the rows in? So there are things that you have to take into account. If it's for the length of a sleeve, you can easily just add more length, same with the length of a body, but you do have to be careful when you get into patterning. So yes, and Marg's right. You need to keep checking your gauge throughout the project. And I know I don't always do this. Well, I don't often do a gauge swatch. I do check my gauge as I go along. But when you do that gauge swatch, you really should wash it and block it to get a true measurement, especially if you're using a superwash yarn, because a superwash yarn really tends to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, don't do as we do.
Just do what we're telling you to do.
Do as we say to form good knitting habits.
Yes. But having said that, I have knit for a long time. I have knit a lot of sweaters. I have a pretty good idea of how, and I'm not adverse to pulling it out if it's not right.
Right.
So.
And also we've knit enough that some of the yarns that we're knitting with are repeat yarns. So we know our gauge from previous projects. And that's something important. That's something I do not do that I should be doing on my Ravelry page. I should actually, when I'm finished my garment, I should take a gauge swatch then, and I should actually record that into my project. I don't do that because typically, I mean, the sweaters are up in my dressing room. I can go and grab them and have a look at something, but it would just be so much easier if I had it right there in front of me.
There. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's another things too. And it is true. Like Barb had said, like when you're stressed, you might knit tighter. Mm-hmm. When you're relaxed, you might knit looser. And that I was watching a podcast today, and even though they were using the same yarn, they did do the gauge swatch over again, because if you used a yarn, say 2 years ago, your knitting could easily have either tightened up or loosened up within that 2 year period.
Absolutely.
So it is, I mean, much as I don't do it, it is a very good idea to do a gauge swatch for, especially a sweater, every time you do a sweater, just, you know, so at least you're on a decent starting point when you start that sweater.
I found exactly that. I had a sock. I had a pair of socks. Well, no, I had one sock. I had one sock finished. I had the second sock cast on, and it was a pair of socks that I probably had started like 2 years prior. And I don't even think I ended up putting the second sock onto the same needles, because in the meantime, I had changed needle styles, changed to something I like. So I think I just slipped them onto something different, and I did the next sock. And you know what? It came out a completely different width than the first sock. And that's, it was noticeable. It was definitely noticeable. So
So anyway, that was just a little short. There's lots of other questions. So again, if you're watching this and you've got any other questions, just either pop them in below the video or go into our email, and we'll try to go a little bit more into detail. But I mean, gauges, we could spend hours on it.
We could.
Like on how to change things up, but I do think for a new knitter, trying to match the gauge is probably the best thing to do for your first sweater. So.
But you gave a great explanation. That was really well done. Really well done.
Okay. Second question was, because we're doing the Holst knit along, and the Holst knit along is running till the end of December. We know lots of you have ordered cones, and that's amazing. And I've gotten different yarns. Now, someone did ask, specifically because they didn't feel like they could wear the super soft, because it's not super soft, but they were going to work with the coast, and what kinds of projects that they could do with the coast.
Which is why I wore this tonight.
There you go. There you go. But the coast is a little bit lighter than the super soft. But if you go into Ravelry and you look, there are tons of projects done in coast. You can do sweaters, you can do shawls, you can do what else? Hats, mitts. I wouldn't do socks because I don't think it would wear well with a pair of socks, but pretty much you can do anything. And if you go onto the Coast website, or not the Coast website, the Holst website, they will tell you that Coast, they recommend that Coast at single strand should give you about a 26 stitch gauge. But if you hold 2 strands together, you'll get about a 21 stitch gauge. So that 21 stitch gauge is about a DK weight. So basically, if you look for a pattern that's DK weight and you hold your coast double, you can do it. Now, the coast is not going to be as warm as Super Soft or the Tides that's got a higher wool
because
content.
it's a 45-55 wool cotton content.
Right.
Yes.
But it's still got like 55% wool. So it's still a nice weight of fabric, or a nice fabric to wear for cooler weather. So, and before we go to the rest of the questions, that could lead into what we're wearing.
Nice segue.
Okay.
I'm marking down time codes. That's what I'm doing. Okay, I'll go first. I'm wearing my first ranunculus sweater, and this is done with coast. So I held, let me think about this. This one I did a while ago. So I held 2 strands of coast with 1 strand of Titicaca. And this might be my favorite. Oh, I say this about every sweater, but this one really might be my favorite sweater, because this one, well, actually you can see I am wearing a beige bra. So it's not naked skin under here. Well, I guess this piece is here, but this is against my skin. And this is like, to me, this is t-shirt soft against my skin. And we all know that I'm the less tolerant wool person in this couple. And this I could put on and never, ever, ever have an issue. The Titicaca gives the fabric just the slightest bit of a loft and a halo. So think mohair, but none of the itch factor. And it's 100% baby alpaca, isn't it? Yes. So
the Titicaca, yes.
Yes. Yep. And then the coast, as we talked about, that's that wool cotton blend, almost a 50-50. And it's just, this is like my favorite sweatshirt or my favorite t-shirt. It's super, super, super soft. And coast is, I mean, I'm making projects with super soft, and I've been but I like to pair my yarns with something else. And I'm actually, Titicaca is kind of one of my go-tos to use because it is so soft. But this was like, I love this sweater. Just love it. Okay. Oh, and the color is, the coast is river, and the Titicaca is stonewash. And also on the whole site, I think we mentioned it last week, but they also offer you some pairings of what other what other bases of yarns that they have that will match the color of your selection. And they will tell you that it's not an exact color match, but it is a complementary pairing.
Yeah.
Yes. So. And I would say almost is like literally, I'm thinking, no, it's up there behind me, but I barely can see the difference in this colorway. Yeah. This one was really, really close.
Okay. So we have a comment from Monique, and she said that she went to Rhinebeck and she bought some 100% alpaca. So she has a cardigan in mind, but she's worried about stretch. So should she use a fingering weight for strength? I have knit with 100% alpaca, and my experience with it, now it could depend on the alpaca as well, but my experience with it was that it is better knit at a tighter gauge to kind of reduce the stretching factor. So if you knit it at a loose gauge, I think it's going to end up stretching quite a bit more. So, and Natalie says that she would hold it with a fingering weight, and that does help. When you pair it with something else that's maybe a little stronger or doesn't quite have as much stretch, that will give some integrity to the alpaca that you're working with. So if the sweater is such that you could do that, that probably would be a good plan. But I'd still do your swatch, especially with alpaca, and maybe like lay it out or even hang it to see how much it's going to drape when you.
Sarah has a good idea. She says that you could knit your project in pieces, and then the seaming it would give it some strength. Yes.
Yep. So
good idea.
Okay,
Nikki's sorry, just one more question. Nikki's asking if holding the coast and the Titicaca together would get you a DK. Yes. Now this is heavier than a DK because I held 2 coast and 1 Titicaca, but coast and Titicaca is a DK. It's very, very similar to Super Soft and Titicaca, and I use that as a DK all the time.
Yep. So, okay. So before I go into mine, I just want to say someone had asked about men's sweaters last week. So someone did give a little bit of a list here. So there was the flax light, the Jaden, the Winterfell, cobblestone, and Clapton. So those, I know I just read them out, but I will list those in the show notes. And I'll put
that's what
links
I
to the
forgot to
pattern.
do. That's what I will add one to that show note, because after last week's podcast, I was showing it to you on Saturday. I had a message from Grant.
Okay.
And he included a photo, and he made this absolutely gorgeous sweater using Coast, and I do not remember the name.
Okay, well, you can give me the name of it, and I'm doing the show notes tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So we'll make sure that it gets in there. Okay. So the next question was how we met.
Oh.
It wasn't that long ago, because it was already after Jacqueline and Zoe and I were podcasting. Because I think that's how you first knew who I was.
Yes.
Okay. And then we just happened to be at a yarn store in Sarnia.
Having his handmade.
And there was a trunk show going on for
Blue Water Fiber Arts.
Yes. I know she had a different name before. That's why I always get mixed up. It was
it's
totally
Sonia.
Inked. It was totally inked before. And we were just in there the same day, and Kelly said, "Oh, I wanted to meet you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Who are you?" And I didn't say that.
No. And then I overheard you talking to somebody else that you were getting ready to go on a trip to Nova Scotia.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
So once we started talking about that and talking about some of the yarn stores in Nova Scotia, and then I think I said, "Oh, when you get back from your trip, I would really like to get together for coffee and see what you bring back to Nova Scotia." And so then I think the first time we actually got together, that's when we met in the coffee shop where we all meet now. And you were coming from the gym and I was going from yoga class, and we met there, and it was the funniest feeling, because after we got together to talk about knitting and everything, I think about 2 hours went by, and it was as if we'd known each other forever.
Yeah. So
not very long.
There go. Beth goes, Kelly was a Noelle fangirl.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. But anyway, but it was like, and then we found out it wasn't even just knitting, that we had so many other things in common. And so,
yes,
and that wasn't that
our
long
love
ago.
Our love of numbers in our real job, not our knitting job. Our competitive nature. Our twisted sense of humor.
Anyway,
and our love of traveling, and we travel well together. We've gone on a few small trips now, and we do travel really well together. And so everything has just worked out. And then when Jacqueline was getting really busy and she wasn't able to give as much time to the podcast, Noelle asked if I would step in, and I said I would, and that was 2 years ago, and here we are.
Honestly, feel like we've known each other like forever. And I have to go back and think it's been probably maybe about 4 years.
Yes. Yeah. So, it does seem like it's a very long time. I say that in a good way. Yes.
Okay. And the last question was about washing.
So many questions this week.
I know, but that's good, because I'm sure a lot of the things are things that people want to know. So the last question was about washing Holst.
Okay, prior to knitting with it.
Well,
is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Either or. So some people do, because the Holst yarns, not so much the Titicaca, but the Coast and the Super Soft and the Tides have spinning oil in them. So you can, if you want to, skein it up and wash it before you work with it. And that might feel easier on your hands. Neither one of us do that. We find that it's fine to work with. Now, I must say, the very first time that I washed a Holst sweater, it was super soft, and the colors in it were Oxford, which is a really dark gray, bleached white, and damson. So there's a huge difference between the bleached white and the Oxford gray. And
even the damson, because the damson is like a magenta pink.
Yes. So when I put that in water, and I usually wash mine in Eucalan. I don't know what you use, but I usually use Eucalan. I Eucalan.
Use soak.
Okay, I like Eucalan for wool fibers, and I use soak for things that have silk or something else, like that are not woolly wool. So the Eucalan, so I get my just tepid water, like not room temperature, I guess you would say. And I just put a little bit of the eucalyptus in it, just kind of do this, but I don't want to get it all sudsy. But when I put that sweater in, that water was black. I was so worried that the white in the sweater was going to take on that color.
Mm-hmm.
So I quickly took it out, kind of like, you know, patted it out a bit to get water and put it in again. Same thing. It was black. But once I rinsed it out, the sweater was fine. None of the color transferred into the white of the yoke. And now both of us have since worked with the color Slow. Again, both in the whole super soft. And I did one that was a yoked sweater. So the bottom of it was all the
That's
Slow.
what's behind my head here.
Yeah,
so you can
really
see how dark it is.
Purple.
Yeah.
And then the top was a hand spun. I think it was the sweater I had on last week. Again, I was worried. But what I did was I kind of like wet the bottom part of the sweater and the sleeves and kind of just tried to run enough water through it to squeeze a lot of the color out before I actually soaked it. But again, when I soaked it, the water was still colored. But when I took out the garment, it was still, there was no color transfer onto the other color. And I do think a lot of the stuff, when you soak it, what you're seeing, like that darkness, a lot of it is the spinning oil coming out. It's not necessarily the color, but the color does. I mean, the color does come out of the yarn. But so far, and maybe I'm just lucky, but so far I haven't had a problem. What about you?
No, I've had no problems at all.
Okay.
The darkest one that I did was, again, the Slow, but I paired that with a really dark colored mohair from Rowan. But I was interested to see what the color of the water was going to be after I washed that, and that would be my other ranunculus sweater. It wasn't that dark. Not that much came out of it. And
see, mine was just like, it was dark. So, and that could just be the difference in a particular cone and how much spinning oil or whatever's in it. So, yeah. And Marg says, and Marg, you're right. That's what I do too. She said, eucalyptus has lanolin in it, so it is better for a woolly wool. So that's what I use my eucalyptus for. And my other ones, like I said, like a silk linen or whatever, I just use the soak. So, okay. That's all the questions.
Okay. Julia, you're right. Julia says yarn is the common denominator for us meeting. So, and you haven't told us what you're wearing tonight.
I am wearing the rocket tee, and I do have, let's see here. It is by Tanis Lavely. Okay. And this one is done in the main color here, or the darker color, is lichen and lace, and it is their merino singles, and the color is called Huckleberry. And then the mohair is by Riverside Studio, and it's a really nice mohair. It's a mohair that's 60% mohair, 40% silk, which means it's even finer. So like, this is, the mohair is a 25-gram skein, and it only took one skein. So I think there's like 330 yards in the skein of mohair. And then it's less than one skein of the lichen and lace. And it's a really nice pattern. I've made a couple of them, and I would make it again. I really do like wearing it. It's super easy. It's a nice way if you've got like, if you don't like have a whole sweater's quantity of one, or if you've got like, you know, maybe a couple of skeins of mohair, or I think for a lot of the sizes, it only takes like 150-gram skein of mohair. So it's kind of a nice way to use that up. So, and this is just a picture that shows the whole thing. And it's a really easy top to wear with jeans or over a dress, or in this case, I think it was my nightgown that matched the color. So I took a picture with my nightgown. So, there you go. You know, might as well be glamorous when you're just walking around your house.
What the heck?
Why not?
Mary's asking, excuse me, Mary's asking about men's cardigans. I don't have any off the top of my head because honestly, neither one of us really knit men's sweaters. But you know what?
Jared Flood is a good one to look at for men's patterns.
Yes. And maybe if somebody...
or let us know, and we'll spread that. Let us know,
next week. And we can revisit that conversation next week.
Yeah.
And Margaret says that she got her very first full moon fiber yarn today, and she was stunned at the beauty of the yarn when she opened her package.
Yeah.
So Full Moon Fibers, I just want to put this out there as well. They are doing a pop-up this weekend, a trunk show, I guess, at Little Red Mitten, and they will be there Friday evening. I'm sorry. I cannot start yawning already. Okay.
Don't
They're going to
yawn.
be there Friday evening from 6 until store close, which I think
it's 8. I think it was 6
8.
till 8. Yep.
And they will be there, and they will have some beautiful things there for you to peruse. And I think they're also bringing their bags as well.
Yep.
And I think we're going. We're going to be there, and to get to visit with them. We last saw them in Kitchener, so we're excited to catch up with them again. So we'll be down there, and then on Saturday they will be there from 11 until 4. Did I get that right? And so, yeah, so that's the Little Red Mitten in St. Thomas. So if you are anywhere near there, and you already don't know about this, but I'm sure if you were near there, you already know about this. But yeah, please come and visit them.
Jolynn says 6 to 8 on Friday.
Okay, good.
So
good.
Okay, so there was a couple of other suggestions for men's, and there was Gramps by Tin Can Knits. There's also the Jones sweater by Tin Can Knits, which is a really nice men's. Well, it can be men or women. That's the nice thing about Tin Can Knits. Their patterns basically go from baby all the way up to whatever, and so pretty much the sizes are unisex. So you could look for cardigans in there for sure. And Isabel mentioned Maxim Sear, and that's Max the Knitter. He does have a lot of men's patterns too.
I don't know that he has it. Does he have a cardigan though?
I don't know if he has a cardigan, but he's got like,
I know he's got some really nice men's patterns.
Might have been a zip up one.
Oh, okay. Yes. I think I do remember that. Yes.
But anyways, those are good places to go and look for men's patterns. So.
Oh, and Kristen got her first full moon fibers too, and she's pleased. How could you not be pleased? I mean, my goodness, their yarn is beautiful. We're excited to see what they're bringing. Yep. Yes. Okay. Oh, Barb is knitting, or sorry, she's crocheting while she's waiting for clue 4. My goodness, Barb.
Wow.
You had time to spare? Everybody has been on there talking about how heavy the work is to get through this, the MCAL by Stephen West. And you're just sitting there waiting for the clue to come out.
Yep.
Good for you. Okay. Rowan has a men's design book designer, Martin Story. It's called Union, and wonderful designs. Okay.
We need to move on to what we finished.
Oh, this won't take me long. What time is it? 37.
What did you finish?
Well, what did I finish? A Sophie scarf.
Oh, that's a finish.
Well, it's a cast on and it's a finish all in one week.
There you go.
It's a little hard to show, but maybe I'll just, I can't tie it on. It's going to get stuck in my headset, and it really doesn't match my sweater either, but that's okay. We'll just give it a little show here. There we go. Oh, you finished one too.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about our Sophie scarves.
Okay.
Well, yours at least matches your sweater a little bit. So I used Wellington fibers, and this is their 2-ply. It is 80% mohair and 20% wool, but it's got a lovely sheen to it.
It does. I
hope this is coming through on the screen because it is a really pretty sheen.
It doesn't come through. Like, I couldn't believe when I saw it in person on Saturday that even the halo on it, you cannot see from the screen. No, it's really, really beautiful. It's, I don't know, like, honestly, to me, it feels like it has silk in it. It's got a lot of, well, sometimes the mohair will kind of have that sheen to it. Now it was mohair and what? Just wool?
Wool.
Okay.
Now I held it double, as you do for a Sophie scarf. So in this, which is really reasonably priced yarn, $24 for 100 grams of this. And this color is called Wellington Dusty Blue. And we got this at the Kitchener-Waterloo Knitters Fair. And we bought a couple of different colors because the intention is I have 50 grams skeined up to hand over to Noelle. And then she chose a color that she liked. And then 50 grams is coming back my way. So it was a buy one, get one Sophie scarf, really, for $24.
That's
very
right.
Great price. And this is their label that you can see, Wellington Fibers. And they are in Middlebrook. No, that's not right.
They're in Elora.
Middlebrook Road in Elora, which is on Ontario as well. But
Yep.
this is just such a beautiful, beautiful teal color.
So that will be a road trip sometime in the future.
Yes, it will.
Because they have spinning fiber too. So, okay.
And yours is?
Mine is done in Katcha Atenia, which is a yarn that I picked up at Little Red Mitten.
And I have a label here because I'm working on it as well with something else. Or did you have a label? Okay, you've got yarn.
I have yarn.
Okay.
So
I have yarn too.
I'm going to show you some of the colors.
Okay.
So the colors are color numbers, but this one is kind of like a salmon-y color. And this is a 25 gram ball. And this is done with it held double. And this is what I had. I had this little tiny couple of grams left. I did weigh, but of course I forgot to weigh the ball before I started, which I normally do if I'm splitting. So, but anyways, this is perfect because I'm going to do one of the little tiny Sophie head, like hair wrap things with the remainder of that. But it takes one skein, and the composition of this yarn is, where is it? It is 42% wool, 40% cotton, and 18% cashmere. And it feels amazing. Like it held double. This is just made a beautiful scarf. And I'll pop in this one picture because, again, if we go back to when Zoe was little, when Zoe was on the podcast, Zoe only liked soft yarn. She didn't like anything like when she had the mohair, she had it like this on her face. So she did a little posing for me on the weekend, and I took a couple of pictures of her wearing the Sophie scarf. So she did give it back to me, but her request was that she wanted a purple one. So anyway, that was Zoe showing off the different ways to style your Sophie.
And if you want to join in on Instagram too, we still have the hashtag.
Yeah,
it's on the bottom of the screen now.
There.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway,
okay,
so that was
colors?
The salmon color. And I don't know what the color names are, but then there was this really pretty aqua.
That is so beautiful too.
Isn't that a gorgeous color? And then there's just like the silvery gray, which could be like your basic go with everything. And then there was this, I don't know if this was called curry or gold.
I have that one. Go figure. Yep. That's for a Sophie scarf for me.
This one, which is kind of like a tealy green. So yeah, it's so soft. No, Nick, it is like kittens. You're right. I'll say it feels like a kitten, not like butter. It feels like a kitten.
It does feel like a kitten. No, it doesn't feel like butter. It does feel like a kitten. No. And then there's also this one, which is just the colorway brown.
Yeah.
And that I'm using this one in a sweater.
They do have that at Little Red Mitten. It's only like, I think it's $12.50 a skein, and it makes a beautiful little scarf. And those would make great presents to give away at Christmas time.
It just feels like, okay, well, yeah, it feels like a kitten, but like literally it's just so soft and dreamy.
Yep.
This you could totally wear against your skin. No problem. No problem.
Okay. So the next thing that I finished, and let me just find, are the Moonlit Mittens by Leanne Lang. So there are the mittens, and I'm going to hold them up. I don't know. Can you see the beads?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So there's beads down the front. So these ones are called the Moonlit Mittens. So mine are done in, this was yarn that I got at Woolstock. So this is Studio Donegal that I got at Carberry Farms. So this is called Irish spinning wool, and it is a worsted weight. So basically for the two mitts, I still have 38 grams of 100 gram skein left. And then these are fully lined. So they're fully lined with this 100%, it's Indicita, and it is baby alpaca. So 100% baby alpaca, which is a DK weight. So it took one 50 gram ball to do the lining for both mitts. And they are amazingly soft, ready for going for a walk. This pattern is by Leanne Lang. And Leanne sent Kelly and I these patterns so that we could try them out, but she's also donating them, a set of them, to the podcast. Now, it's called her Walk Collection. And in the Walk Collection, she's got 4 different types of mittens. So I'm just going to pop a picture up on the screen there and have to take the name off because you can't really see all the mittens there. Okay, so the one at the top on the, well, I don't know if it's your right or left, the blue one with the beads is the one that I did. And those are called the Moonlit Mittens. And then the one right under that is a men's version, and those are called the Trail Mittens.
Mhm.
And then the one under that that's kind of got the moss stitch, and then she's got a little charm sewn at the end of it. Those are called the Frosty mittens. And then the big picture is called her Winter Walk mittens. And the reason it's the walk collection is because the mittens are definite mittens that you would want to have when you're going out for a walk, because that inner liner keeps the wind from going through like the fabric on the outer mittens. So Leanne has kindly gifted us a set of patterns to give away, and that will include all 4 of the patterns. So you'll be able to knit for yourself or your husband. Now, I don't think that there's a kids version, but these are in worsted weight. So if you went down like maybe to a DK white, you could probably pare them down to do a kid size mitten. So I do have, now what do I have to do here, Kelly, to do that?
Share the,
yeah.
Oh, it's a little bit different now. It's the present screen at the bottom
Yes,
with the plus.
Okay. Okay. Just a minute here. So we're going to use the hashtag. It's just going to be hashtag walk.
And you have to
mittens.
start collecting have to do the start collecting.
Okay.
First, and then share the screen.
Oh, I have to do that. I have to go start. Okay. Got it. Okay. This seems different than last time I did it.
It is a little bit different. There's been some upgrades.
Okay, well, how do I get it to share the screen? It's not sharing.
Under the present button.
Yeah, I've got it up. Oh, Chrome tab, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Okay, so you can start typing in hashtag walk.
And I just want to say too, that's very generous gift to give away to a lucky viewer. Yes. There we go. They're rolling.
And they're again, these are fabulous mitts that would be amazing to give away for Christmas. I know a lot of people knit for charity. They would be wonderful for that because they're going to keep everybody warm. It's nice to have the different sizes, and it's also nice that there's a couple of variations so you can make your mitts a little bit fancy. So I really love the little beads that are in them. When I showed them to Zoe, she said they were jewels, but I had jewels in my mittens.
Of course.
So it would also have to find some purple jewels.
It would also be a great way to use up some scrappy yarns, like to use for the inside lining.
Yes.
Because really, you're not going to see those. So if you had some little bits left over that you wanted to use up, that would be a great way. But I do. I love a cozy mitten for walking in because I get really cold fingers really fast. So I'm excited to have a pair of those to go out in this year.
Yeah, well, the alpaca on the inside felt amazing, but I believe that I think Leanne had said that to use the Barocco vintage DK as the lining.
Yes, she did.
And I know in the wool and silk shop, I know that they had kits to put together, and the outside they used the Juniper Moon Farm Santa Cruz, which is an organic merino. So they have that on the outside, and then the Barocco vintage DK as the lining in the middle. And like I said, it's you really don't need, like, I would say one skein of each is definitely going to do a whole pair. Like, you don't need to go into a second skein. And even on the DK for the inside, that was just a 50 gram skein of the alpaca that I used, because your inside mitt is a little bit smaller than the outside one. So it doesn't take up as much yarn, and they absolutely feel amazing on. Like, I know those are even going to be good for just even driving. Like, because some of us don't have heated steering wheels.
Sorry. You know what? My hands get cold enough in the winter that sometimes I still need the gloves on, even with the heated steering wheel. So,
well, it's like, and when you're out walking, if your hands are cold, you're just cold.
Yes.
So,
yes. Cold is cold is cold.
And for a lot of people, I think they're out early in the morning because they're taking dogs out for walks, and it's even nice to have something to hang onto the leash, because the leash can feel chilly too when it's cold out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
a couple of people have mentioned in here, and thank you. It's very kind. While you're in here typing hashtag walk, just go on down below the screen and type or hit the thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. Much appreciated. And I guess since this is up here now, you can see the little Streamyard logo there. This is the platform that we use. And we love this platform. It's the same company that has the platform that we run the podcast on, and this is just one of the little tools that they give us to use. And they're a fantastic company to work with. It's a couple of creators that really know what they're doing to make what we do really easy. And it's a fantastic back-end platform, how we can share the photos, the videos, and the banners and everything that is sort of, on point with what we're talking about.
It makes it easier for us to be able to share things on like doing a live, because we can actually set up some things ahead of time and be able to show them. So
yeah, and it actually enables us to run it. We were talking about this the other day. It's just a little bit more like a regular podcast instead of just a live. It gives us a few more tools. And so I encourage you to check them out if this is something that you do elsewhere, or somebody else that is into this, then I just encourage you to check them out. They are a fantastic company to partner with.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and draw. So we've got 200 entries. So let's just draw here.
Slowing down. Nan Jane, congratulations.
Congratulations. So if you email us on that, we'll bring that up again, our Knits and Pieces. Just got to find it.
Oh, sorry. You have to. Okay. I'll remove this.
Oh, do I have to get that out first?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Now we'll look for the banner with the.
There we go.
Okay. So if you email us at knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com, and we will let you know how you can access those patterns. So I don't know whether I'll have to talk to Leanne and see if she just wants me to give her the name of the winner, or we'll figure it out. But if you just email us and give us your information, we'll get that figured out. Okay.
And we're not done yet.
No, we're not done yet. So Leanne was also kind enough to donate another set, so that if you're watching after, same thing, she's going to donate a set of the patterns for that. So if you didn't happen to win here, if you want to go in after and pop in a comment below the video, we'll be drawing another one just before we broadcast next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Yes.
Yeah. And that's going to be November already. And this is October 25th. We only have 2 months till Christmas.
I know.
That is scary.
No, it's not.
It's not scary because I'm not knitting a million pairs of work socks this year. That would be scary.
Oh yeah, you're not doing that.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Do you have any other finishes?
No, I do not.
Okay. I do.
You do?
I do.
I'm sorry that I sounded so surprised.
Yeah, forgive me when I doubted you, Kelly. I'm sorry for the things I said when I was doubty. It's not knitting. It was sewing. So you do? I'm so shocked. So I may have talked about it before I went out west, but I wanted to show some finished pictures with the little person wearing it. So this is the little jumper that I made for Mr. Myles to wear at his 1-year birthday party. These are brindle and twig patterns that I use for him. And this is just a sweet little romper, super easy to pull on. And it's made in a jersey knit, but it's a lined jersey knit. So it's got that minky soft fleece inside, and it does feel like butter. I don't care what you say. Anyway, Kendall loves these rompers. She says they're really easy to put on and off, and he's all tucked in. Everything stays nice and tucked in. So I made this for him, and his birthday theme was dinosaurs. So I do have a little picture of Myles. We weren't really posing for the romper, so it's not in the best position. It's kind of hiked up and a little bit, it looks like he's got a little bit of a wedgie. He was getting passed around pretty good at this point, but this is Myles at his 1-year birthday, little wild one sign in the back, and he's got such a mischievous little face on right there. And I have one more picture to share from Mr. Myles' birthday. Here he is with his cake. So we made him his own little banana smash cake, a 3-layer cake that he got to. And this is more sugar than he's ever had in his 1
In
year
his
life. It
life,
was,
yeah.
yes, in his little 1 year already. It was a cream cheese icing with some berries on top, and he was there for it. Let me tell you, he started out a little slow. He wasn't used to having something so big on his plate in front of him. But once he got a taste of that icing, he was in there both hands. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. Okay. What else do we have going on in here tonight?
What are you working on?
I'm working on things. Okay, hang on. I've just got to mark down a time. Makes my job easier after.
Yeah.
But I keep talking about marking down these time codes, but I guess we should let you know what we're doing with the time codes. So Noelle does the show notes, and as she said, tomorrow morning she'll be doing that. So anything that we talk about tonight on here, she will have links to and mentions of. She's very detailed show notes. She does a fantastic job. And something that I've started adding in after the fact is time codes. So if you're watching the video and you just sort of move your cursor down there, it will highlight in a sort of a chapter sequence of things that we've talked about. So, you know, like finishes, Q&A, admin, whatever it is that we're doing. So if there's something that you wanted to go back to that you remembered that we were talking about, then it's a little bit easier to find your way. So hopefully that's useful for everyone. So things that I'm working on. And thank you for all the lovely comments about Myles. It's so fun to share him on here and have you all a little part of that as well. So I talked about this one last week, and I didn't have it with me when I was talking about it. So I wanted to show it off just because it's full moon fibers, and we've already talked about full moon fibers. So I am working on another tassel, my second Tassels in the Sky shawl by Vincent Valapando. And oh goodness. And then I go ahead and I do something like this. I didn't finish the row I was working on. There's a huge crime. So I can't even hold it up for you properly. I'm so sorry. But okay, I'll hold up one piece of it then. There we go. So this is Tassels in the Sky, and it is a triangular shawl, and it will have these amazing tassels on the end of the 3 corners.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
It does look amazing. I've already made one in their yarn, and this uses the slub yarn held with 1 strand of mohair. And what's so fun about it is the way it changes the color. So this is my slub yarn in the colorway Lagoon. And I'm pairing that with a Knit Picks mohair. Color is lavender, which is this one. And then you get this. Like, look at how that just changes everything. But the best part of this shawl are these little slubby nubs.
I know.
They add so much fun texture. And this is total easy peasy knitting. Like, you don't even have to think about this. You're doing an increase, you knit across, you increase, you turn it around, you increase, purl back, and do some increases. It's a free pattern on Ravelry.
Yep.
And Noelle, you've made 2 of them as well, haven't you? And then I've already made
one was mine, and then the other was a sample for Little Red Mitten, but I want to do another one.
And I do happen to have sitting right here beside me, because I haven't taken it upstairs yet because I haven't photographed it for Ravelry. But now it's nice enough I can wear it. This is the other one that I finished. I just want to show you these glorious tassels that are on the bottom of it. And this one was using,
it's full moon
Kale
fibers.
Me About It.
Okay.
Kale Me About It was the slub, and the it was a Knit Picks mohair again, and it's their Aloft base. No, sorry. The other one was Drops mohair. This is the Knit Picks mohair, which is called Aloft. And there you go.
And both Kelly and I, when we do them, we make our tassels first, and then you can just use all the yarn, right? So
yes,
you can just
every little bit.
Your yarn's gone.
Every little bit.
Plus, we both go up a needle size, because the pattern actually tells you to use a 4mm needle. I believe we both used 5. I know I did.
Yes, I did. I've got a 5 on here.
Because 4 kind of gave you a tighter fabric, and you're not going to end up with the drape and the size if the way we knit anyway. So my tension was probably looser than what's called for in the pattern, but it gave me the type of shawl that I wanted.
But you also get a really big shawl too.
Yes.
Now I got tassels.
Yeah, it's not just like you get a decent size shawl.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's a really big shawl.
Yeah. So
Look at that. It's gorgeous. I love a good tassel. And now I've got mohair stuck to
I
my
know I haven't even really worn
lip
mine yet
gloss.
because by the time I finished it last year, it was too warm to wear it. So now we're just kind of getting back into.
Yes, Brigitte, you do use the mohair in the tassels as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
So you can see that. Yeah.
So
Okay.
okay. So what else
That's
are you
one of
working
the,
on?
I'm working on something else, but you can go ahead with one. So I'm
Okay.
sure you're doing more than one.
I only got, well, I didn't really do that much on my socks, so I don't have that here. But I did get a little more work done on my Whitmore.
Okay.
So this is my Whitmore cardigan. This is a pattern by Amy Loden. So I've gotten it to the point where I am on the rib. So I've got another couple of inches to go, one more buttonhole to go on the rib. Now this is done, and I've not ever done this before, but you knit the front bands, like both the front bands, you knit at the same time as the cardigan, but they're done on a different size needle. They're done on a smaller needle. So I have it, the pattern I think tells you to use like double points, but I've just got them on 16-inch circulars. So I've got one on this end and another one on this end. So every time you come around, you switch to the smaller size needle, and then your band ends up being like a little bit tighter. So it's not going to stretch out when you go and block it out. And you do the buttonholes as you go along. Now the pattern does tell you where to put the buttonholes, but this is where your row gauge comes in important, because if you're not going to knit your cardigan to the exact number of rows that the pattern tells you to, or your length is not the same. So I did do a little bit of figuring out, because I was doing, there's like a shorter version and a longer version in the pattern, and I was doing somewhere in the middle of the two. So I had to kind of work out my buttonholes at a different point, but they worked out. I've got one more buttonhole to go, and I will at least have it cast off there. Hopefully I'll have at least one sleeve done by next week, but this is what I'm knitting for our Holst knit along, because this is knit using Tides. So the Tides is 70% wool, 30% silk, and I just dropped my titty caca on the ground. So I've got to go pick it up.
Falls away.
Okay. And this is what, now it's wrapped around my leg. Okay. And this is the titty caca, and the titty caca, this color is called Nude. So this is Bloom and Nude. And you can see they're not a perfect match, but this is one of the ones that was paired up on the whole site. And when you knit them together, the color is I love it. It's
you
beautiful.
Can't see where one starts and the other ends. It's gorgeous.
It doesn't even look marled. It just looks like a cohesive color.
Yes. So, and I saw that on Saturday when we were knitting at the coffee shop, and it's absolutely beautiful in person. Really beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm excited about having that done, and it'll be a little bit, I think, of a more dressier cardigan. And I know these lace panels are really going to open up and look nice when they're blocked. Mm-hmm. And it does have bishop sleeves, and I do think I'm going to do that. Like not super bishop, but enough so that it's kind of flowy and then a tighter cuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to finishing that.
Okay.
And that's my Holst project that I'm unwrapping from my leg.
Okay, I am working on my Holst project, and I have split for sleeves, so I'm not as far along as you, but let me just pull these up here. Okay, and I'm working on the J sweater by Rachel Brockman, and I meant to put a needle keeper or a thing, one of my cocoa knit things on the bottom, and I just dropped a stitch, but that's okay. I'll find it later. It's not gone far. This is what I have so far.
That's gorgeous.
And this is using Holst Super Soft and a strand of the Atenia. Yeah. So again, they're not a perfect match, but I was brushing my teeth and I thought, oh, these colors would go. Whoops. So it's the dried plaster.
Yes.
Dried plaster and Super Soft, and then the soft pink color.
Yeah.
In the Atenia, which we got at Little Red Mitten. that we talked about earlier.
Yes.
And then this is the color that you get out of it. And it's
That's
so
gorgeous.
pretty and so soft and so light. Like,
Yep.
I know it's going to be a warm sweater, but it's
Yep.
at this point, it's really
But
great.
that's what's nice about when you're using the Hulse yarns. Like you do end up with a sweater that's warm, but it doesn't have the weight.
It doesn't have weight.
Feel like it's heavy on you.
It's so that when you are traveling and you want to take a lot of sweaters, you are not adding any weight to your suitcase. You can pack lots.
Or if you want to bring that yarn home.
Yes. I should mention too that I'm using 2 strands of the Atenia to do the brown. Okay. I don't have Holst in that. So I use 2 strands of that. And then the single strand of Atenia and the super soft for the body of the sweater.
So for the brown, you said you had a skein left. Did you use 1 or 2 skeins in the?
I have my fancy yarn butler here, my pledge can. And this is what is left still of my first. I still have this from my first skein.
Oh, wow.
This is just 1 skein. So I was debating, the pattern doesn't call for it, but I might call for it. I may duplicate just down at the cuff.
Yeah.
A little bit of that pattern just to kind of tie the sweater together and then to use up this little bit. So yeah, I still have a full skein of this brown that I showed earlier. So this was a really cost-effective sweater because I think we mentioned these skeins were $12.50. So I have 1 of these. I bought 4 of the pink. I don't know that I'll use 4. And then of course we know that the cones are super reasonably priced. So,
but we also thought that this would also make the Atenia would also make an amazing liner for the inside of knits.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. So it just goes to show that you can have a very luxurious looking and feeling sweater at a lower price point. Just because it looks like you've spent a fortune doesn't mean you necessarily have. And, we try to use a variety of yarns in our projects too. There are some that definitely I've spent more on and some that I've even spent less on, but this would be a really cost-effective sweater for somebody that wants an absolutely beautiful, luxurious looking project. And so that's what I'm making for my Holst project. And I've got a couple more lined up.
Wanted to say about this yarn too is a lot of people tend to have a sensitivity to mohair or alpaca. So this yarn here, there's no mohair, no alpaca. So if you still want to get that look of having a mohair or an alpaca or something to hold with something, that's most likely a good choice for someone that's got those sensitivities because you don't have any alpaca or any what's that mohair, because some people do have sensitivities to those.
And I don't know if Jolene's still in here or not, but is this something that you're going to be able to restock and carry more of? Because we really like it. We really, I hope so. Because again, I think there's a lot of uses for it. A lot. Okay. I have some. Do you have anything else that you're working on?
I have one more because I should be finishing up the things that I have already started, but I just want to cast on all the things.
I know.
And I was watching Little Red Mitten last night, and Jolene was casting all the things. So I thought, okay,
I know.
she can do it. I
she can do it. We can do it. I know. I was there last night too with her, and I love her cardigan. By the way, it's gorgeous.
I didn't know what I was going to start, but this is what I started. This is all I've got done so far. So I've just got the neckband done, and then I've put in my steek stitches. So it's going to be a cardigan, but it's going to be steeked. And this is going to be the festive cardigan. Where is it here? The festive sweater cardigan by Skein Deer Knits. So this is in Rauma. The green is Rauma Phenol Garn. I don't know. It's just a color number and I don't have the band, but I'll have more next week to show you. And then my contrast color is going to be this. And this is Rauma Gamel Sari. And the Gamel Sari is the same weight. It's just a little bit, it's more twisted. So this is going to be my contrast color. So it's just like the natural gray, but I think those 2 colors go. Well, I think
that's the yarn that I use to make Myles' little bunny. And I love working with it. It's a woolly wool.
So yes, it is. I just started this. I just decided today I was going to do that, even though I should be finishing something else. So I just started, got the neckband done. I can't wait to get into the color work part of it. So I'm just going to do the color work in the yoke. So in her pattern, it's a really nice pattern. It's got, you've got motifs for all sorts of different like Christmassy winter things. So I haven't decided if I'm just going to stick to wintry. That way I could just wear the cardigan all winter, or put any things that look Christmassy. But a lot of the things are like, I mean, pine trees just look like pine trees, right? And they're going to look snowy because they're going to be in that color. And this is going to be a cardigan because my other Christmas sweater is the Merry Mint by Natalie of Remembrances Pottery. And that one's a pullover. So I thought it would be nice to have a cardigan and a pullover. And I've not knit with the Rama before. I bought it and I have it.
I bet you're loving it. It's such a woolly wool.
I love it. I just want to, yeah, I can't wait. I love it. So anyway, so that's what I started. So that's my next whip. And I worked a little bit on my socks, but I don't really have anything done to show on them. So.
Okay. Good news on a couple of points. Jolynn says, yes, they are going to continue to stock it. She says she's actually working on an order right now. So that's good news. Yep. And Brigitte is asking if you can get it in the States. I'm not so sure where else you can get it, but I'm pretty confident Little Red Mitten ships to the States. So you could check out their website. I think Jolynn would have it on there by now. And there was a couple of other comments. Rosie is using Choco in Tides, and for her Holst project, she's doing the Cumulus T by Petite Knit. It's her third one. So she's got one strand of Tides with the 3.25. And that she said that's the perfect weight for her because she runs hot.
I just have a great idea.
What?
Well, I don't know.
You share. Please share.
I don't know if it's a great idea. Everybody's so excited about their whole stuff. What if they send us pictures and we can put like maybe in a couple of weeks, put a little montage in of everybody's projects that they're working on so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then everybody could get an idea of what everybody else is, because you guys are telling us, but we'd really like to see them.
Yes. And we recognize that not everybody is on Ravelry and not everybody is on Instagram. Yeah. So there's a few platforms out there that we might miss out on it, and we really want to see it.
Yeah. I would really love to, and especially progress pictures to see what people have started and are doing. And you're right. We could use hashtag pictures. We could take pictures.
Well, we do have a hashtag going right here.
Yeah. I just think it would be nice to share it in here so everybody could see it.
So it's the KNP Holst Along. Yes. KNP Holst Along. So make sure if you are on Instagram, add some things in there so that we can keep track of what you're up to as well.
And if you don't want us to share, make sure you put in there that you don't want us to share it.
Yes. For our eyes only.
So, but we would love to share them on here for everybody to see them. So,
okay. I have one other thing. This is not, are you done your whips?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not done them. They're still whips.
So smooth. This I was talking about last week, but I wanted to, I made a banner for it in case anybody else was interested. And this is a project you can finish before October ends. So this is the Hello Gorgeous by Ash Christine. And this is just a cute little pumpkin gourd. I've got another one behind me here in the cream color as well. And they're just fun little things to put around your house or on a table. So I wanted to share that information as well.
Okay, and Marg's asking, does Holst have a Black Friday sale? I don't know. I think they did last year, but the year before, I think they didn't. So I don't know. You'll just have to check. Like, I know I follow them on Instagram, but if we find out that they do, we'll let you know. But at the moment, I don't know whether they do or not. I know I have bought from their Black Friday sale in the past, but it was several years ago. And I know there are people who have asked about, well, first of all, somebody asked about where we got the Rama from. I got my Rama up at the Purple Sock in Coldwater, but I know it's also available online. The Carberry Farms, where I got my Studio Donegal yarn, they also sell Rama, and they do have an online. Yeah, they do. They do have an online shop, and I don't know where all they ship, but again, I'll link them down in the show notes below. But they do sell Rama as well.
Because I got mine all the way from Norway.
Okay. Well, I think back a few years ago, there wasn't a lot of suppliers that were local that you could actually get it from. But I know they do sell it. And someone had asked about, now I can't remember. Oh, Holst in the States. I do think the Woolly Thistle has some Holst. but I'm not sure what other stores in the States sell Holst, because we either get ours from Little Red Mitten or we order directly from Holst.
And Natalie's mentioning Unraveled in Perth as well. Natalie, are you back from camp? Are you back from camp? We missed you last Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Brigitte is making the Ash Christine feeling beautiful. Oh, cute.
So
very nice. Oh, and the Knitting Loft. Janice and Lynn are saying the Knitting Loft also carries Rama.
Okay.
And I went all the way to Norway to get mine.
So,
oh, goodness. Oh, she got back last night. Great. Great.
Okay. I'm having a hard time sitting still tonight.
Even I'm doing that tonight. I was waiting for somebody to call me out on it.
So, okay. So we'll quickly recap what we've got going on. Okay. So we've got our Holst along. So again, we'll go through. So yeah. So get some posts in there on the Instagram hashtag, and we'll get some of those put together to show. And for that knit along, all you have to do is knit something using a Holst yarn. So it can be Coast, it can be Tides, it can be Super Soft, it can be Noble, it can be, they've got Silo, it can be their sock yarn, it can be Titicaca.
You can mix it with anything else that you like too.
With whatever you want. You can hold it double with another Holst yarn. You can hold a single Holst yarn double or triple. You can make hats, socks, scarves, mitts, gloves, sweaters, dresses, pants, and on and on and on.
On and on and on.
And the more things you knit, the more things you can enter.
That's right.
Okay, so there is a finished object thread in Ravelry. So once you've got your project finished, get them in there. And there's also a chatter thread if you want to talk about what you're making. So that goes till the end of December. Okay, and then the other knit along that we have going is our sock knit along, which basically started at the beginning of January and goes till the end of December, but we draw prizes on a monthly basis. So by next week,
there'll be prizes, because it will be November the 1st.
That's right. So get your socks in there. Any pair of socks that you put in there is eligible from the moment you put it in till the end of the year. So we go back to the beginning of the year to draw prizes. There's absolutely gorgeous socks in there. Socks make an amazing present if you want to, get some pairs done for Christmas.
So if you are like sitting around wondering, I'd like to cast on some socks and I don't know which pair, just jump in there.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
That's right.
My goodness. Yes.
So, yep.
Isabel, funny. Okay. And what else have we got?
That's it.
No, we've got the Mitten collection. Don't forget to leave your.
Yes. Yeah. I thought you were talking about knit alongs. Yes, we've got. If you want a chance to win the Walk Mittens collection by Leanne Lang, so jump in after once this video goes up and is posted, and put a comment underneath. Make sure the hashtag walk is in there, and you'll be eligible. We'll draw that before the beginning of next week's show.
Yes, absolutely. And thumbs up. Thumbs up.
We do like this.
Yes, thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. So, okay. Well, I think we have come to pretty much the end of our evening.
Yeah, and we want to just thank everybody again for joining us. It's so much fun. It's so nice that people like to hear about our knitting. Because I'm pretty sure Ross just listens, but just
how can they talk so much about string and sticks, right? I know.
That's right.
It never gets old. It never gets old. And there's so much to share. And we love seeing all of your projects as well.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing all I know everybody's excited. It's so exciting when you get a Holst order and you've got the cones of yarn, and it's like Christmas.
I know. The first few that I got, I didn't even want to make anything with it. I just love looking at
the colors and the colors and the
cones, right?
Spectacular. Yeah.
Yes. And if you're a person that very much needs to see it, there are some very good stores that are stockists of the Holst yarn that have lots of colors. So you can check everything out in the store. Sometimes you just need to see it. You know, it's especially if you're working on something with a lot of colors.
Yeah.
So you want to see what they look like together. So. All right. And here we are turning it into the long Canadian goodbye.
Yeah.
It just goes on. And hopefully we'll see some of you Friday night too at the Little Red Mitten for the Full Moon Fibers pop-up.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
We'll be
So
here next Tuesday.
yeah, thanks again, everybody, and take care. Have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, and happy Halloween and be safe out there too.
Yes.